So this is going to be the last reading of this book, Life is to be Related, by Vimala Thakar. It's the second part of a talk. I'll start a little bit before where we ended yesterday. Here we go. In every level of relationship, what is the source of our action and behavior? And what are the governing factors? If we look into this aspect of life, we will find out, if we are honest enough, that we feel quite safe when we are told to do certain things. In every level of relationship, we are looking for security. We want to be secure. The security given by society and by legislation. If we want security, meaning denying freedom from others, to others, are we really entitled to believe that we want freedom where we belong to none and no one belongs to us? We belong to life, to the totality of life. We belong to God. The state of freedom is the state of renunciation. We do not give up anything, but we do not own anything. We do not reject anything, but we do not possess anything psychologically. We love to possess not only objects, but even human beings, and knowledge and experiences. For us, our existence consists of possessions, and the bigger the possessions, the richer we feel. But to be free is to be empty, my friends, to get reduced to nothingness and nobodyness, like the flower in the field. There is no center that will try to own and possess anything in this world. In that humility of nothingness, fearlessness arises. In that humility of renunciation, where there is no assertion, just being and communication with life. Life changes. Do we really want that freedom? Freedom is a state of total non-identification. We have looked at one aspect of the inquiry, that freedom is a dangerous thing. If there is no urge for freedom, we should pursue the methods and techniques that give security and be content with that. But if we want freedom, we should be mercilessly honest with ourselves in this voyage of self-discovery. We believe that we would like to find out what love is, but that is a superstition. Love is austere. Love is not like the attachment that we can feel on the sensual level. It does not gratify the sensual demands necessarily. It may, but it may not. It offers no security or a sense of belonging. It is like the air everywhere. Love is like the breath of life. It is not in relation to any particular individual, but it is in relation to the whole. There is a tremendous velocity in that state of freedom and love. It changes the person qualitatively. There is inward freedom, this state of nothingness, and love that is and this love that is a sense of being united with the whole of life and the awareness of the unity of life. The sense of being one with the total melts away all the obstacles, rigidities, and identifications. The third thing is the superstition that we want peace, collectively and individually. With this third question, I'm going to leave you so that when you get home, you can ask yourselves intensely, ruthlessly, and find out for yourself if you really want peace. We love activity. Incessantly, we love movement. Not that one is going to deny movement or motion. Movement is part of life, just as motionlessness is. But we are so addicted to activity or movement of some kind or other, physical or mental. And peace is the relaxation that motionlessness brings about. Peace is a byproduct of the state of non-action. Can we bear that state of non-action, even for an hour? Can we bear silence when the mind moves not, where the feelings stir not? That magnificent emptiness reigns supreme within the flesh and bones. So, my friends, a religious life is the life of an inner revolution, where the dimensions change from the dimension of motion to the dimension of non-motion. And meditation is a state where this egolessness, this motionlessness, reigns supreme. If after honest consultation and asking of ourselves if we really feel that we would like to find out what this dimension of freedom and love is, and we have seen the futility of the mental movement, that the mind cannot reach God, but if the mind stops its squirrel-like acquisitive, fear-ridden, and security-minded activities, if the mind can discontinue its activities, then silence will be there. In the motionlessness, silence, the emptiness will be there. If we are really urgently in need of peace, of love, and freedom, then only a genuine, spontaneous inquiry can begin. Then there will be a foundation for this inquiry. So let us suppose we have found out that we really want freedom, peace, and that state of love. How do we begin? How do we set out? As a hint from a friend, the first thing I see is that we do not move an inch from where we are placed by life. We do not wander around in search of guides, of teachers and masters, but we stay put in the situation that life has placed us and try to find out our own conditioning. As we move and walk upon this earth, and there is a contact between the movement of our feet and the gravity of the earth, in the same way when our mind moves, it has a contact with our own conditionings which are woven into our flesh, bones and blood. We must find out those conditionings and understand them for what they are. Ignorance about our conditionings and running about the world in search of latest modes of conditionings won't take us anywhere. We understand what our conditioning is, how it binds us, how they strengthen or weaken us. This acquaintance with the nature of conditioning is absolutely necessary. So we stay put and we look and observe our own life and understand the nature of our conditioning and how it has created habit patterns, superstitions, myths, beliefs. The whole thing is clearly seen by us. And then we say, well, if this is the authority woven into my blood, if this authority is going to be an obstacle or block to my inquiry, let me brush it aside. This brushing aside is done with all humility, not with the arrogance that we have nothing to do with the past, the authority of the past. Not in arrogance, but in humility we say, the experiences of my forefathers might be true, but they are of no use to me. I'm not continually going to approximate my actions to the experiences of my forefathers. So we brush aside this authority so that a voyage of exploration can begin. Repeating experiences is not a discovery, my friends, nor approximating our actions to that of Ramakrishna or J. Krishnamurti. They have lived, or they are living, their lives. Let them live. Our life is our own. We have to live our own life. We cannot deny or reject the past. The only thing that can be done is to see that we cannot be a prisoner of the past, that we cannot try to run away from our own being. The process of discovery is not the process of becoming. The process of discovery may be the process of unlearning wrong things, washing out imbalances, or learning a scientific approach. But it surely is not imitating, conforming, and approximating. It is to be what we are. Let the potentialities blossom and flower out, and God resides in every heart, in every being. God, which is the totality of life, the unconditioned energies, the pure isness of life. There is not the minutest particle on earth where the divine does not make its abode. This is the mystery of life. The mystery of life cannot be uncovered by the intellect and by knowledge. It may reveal itself unto us, but if we are in the state of non-knowing and humility, it may reveal itself to us. If we are in the state of non-knowing and humility, it reveals itself to us. We don't attain it, or so, or something like that. We brush aside the authority because we do not want to imitate, conform, approximate. It is difficult because we want to become other than we are. But transformation does not consist in becoming something that we are not. It consists in the austerity of being what we are, organically related to the whole, and living that organic relationship with the whole in every moment, in every relationship. We say brush it aside because it is irrelevant to our self respect, to our discovery of the meaning of life. We brush it aside, but if there is a contempt, an indifference, a feeling of superiority over the past, then I think the source gets poisoned by that arrogance. No inquiry and discovery can take place when the attitude has the rigidity of arrogance or a feeling of superiority about it. In order to learn, we must be open, receptive. The past is the past, and we let it go. We let go the hold of authority of the past, because we are dealing with our own minds. The past is not something outside of us, it is within us. It is the substance of the known, the conditioned mind, through which we are functioning the whole day. The moment we do not identify ourselves with the authority of the past, it doesn't bother us anymore. We have to let go of the hold, of the grip of the past. It is upon us, and we voluntarily accept the grip of the past because of the urge for security. Now the authority is left behind. We are taking the voyage together. We let go of the grip with all humility, not attributing any meaninglessness to it, but it is of no use to us anymore. And now we will find that there is space inside. No thought, no reference to the past. We have to find this out. We have to understand. If we move through the mind, through the I sense, the self, the ego, it will bring back the total past in one way or the other. In order that what has been brushed aside does not creep back by the back door, does not interfere, we stay in the state of observation. Now the flame of observation is lit in the space within, and the observation is a reaction-free attention. And there we remain. We can't do anything more. We have done what was necessary, and we have taken the first step of setting ourselves free of all authority. And maybe the first step is also the last step. We can't do anything more. In the state of non-doing, where we are reduced to non-knowing, there is no direction to go. There is no motivation to push us into action. We are in the center of our being. I've used the term humility, which is not used very much these days, and I'm going to use another dangerous word, surrender. Surrendering ourselves totally at the altar of silence. All the activities are surrendered, and we live in that state, so that the other might uncover itself, so that the other, in quotation marks, may come out. Remove the transparent screen or mask between itself and ourselves. What we have done by brushing aside the authority, throwing open the doors and windows of our psyche, and making space within, so that the other, quotation marks, the unnameable, the eternal, the infinite divine, may step in, so that it may take over our lives. We can empty our minds, be in the emptiness, and that is all we can do. Generally, most of us do not like to be in that state of non-doing and non-knowing. We do not like that emptiness within. Empty minds, devoid, no word, no thought, no feeling, no reference, no terms of reference, nothing whatsoever to look up to refer to. This frightens us. The ego gets frightened. But if we stick it out, it doesn't matter if there is fear. It doesn't matter if there are tears. What is wrong with tears? It doesn't matter if we tremble for a while, if we stick with it, and we don't run away from that feeling of trembling, shaking, tears, frustration. Because the ego will get frustrated and it will say, turn back. There's nothing here in this emptiness, in this void. Turn back. Get hold of some theory, some interpretation, some security. But you have gone beyond the words and verbalization. And here there is only emptiness, the void, only silence. There is no one to tell you what is happening to you. What is the use of being in this void emptiness, where you don't see a thing, where nothing happens to you? Either the ego wants to do something, or it wants something to happen. It cannot tolerate the austerity of beingness. It wants to become something, to do something, to change. The changing others or changing ourselves, becomes becoming something or helping others to become. That's the content of our life. Not being used to living in that inner space or directionless, motiveless emptiness. It is a beautiful thing. It is a terrific beauty. The beauty has a terror about it. If we stick it out, then only we see for ourselves that the emptiness and the void was full of innumerable energies, unconditioned, unmeasured, and unexplored by human beings. So the touch of the other, quotation marks, of the unnameable, transforms our being. We do not transform ourselves. It is the contact of the other that has not been measured by words, concepts, and theories, that has denied verbalization. The other permeates, saturates the being. It saturates the brain. And we say the person is transformed. When we cannot identify When we do not have a framework of reference in which we can put the person, we say, "Oh, the person has changed." Transformation comes about as a happening in the emptiness of the mind. It does not belong to the mind. It is not brought about by the mind or the effort of our brain. It is a benediction that comes about in the egoless state, in the state of utter nothingness. And then the new life begins. So it is a benediction that comes about in the egoless state, in the state of utter nothingness. And then the new life begins. When life is taken over by the totality, by the other, the unmeasured, an immeasurable energy, when it is taken over by that, then man is born anew and a new life begins. I'm not stating theories, I'm sharing life with you. When this happens, it is the birthright of every human being to grow into this other dimension. The home of human beings is not in the body of flesh and bones and blood. The mind, the prison house of the past, is not the true abode. Man is not born to be doomed to be a prisoner of the thought structure. Man is born to be free, to live in peace, in imperturbable peace within. And that's the end of this beautiful little book. Tomorrow I will continue with another book by Vimala Thakar. Have a great day. Bye for now. Thank you, sunlight.